Yo guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be doing a video on my new 2017 F-150. I've had this truck since December 25th. I just kind of want to do a video talking about how the ownership experience has been, starting with this last month and a half that I've been driving it. So just to kind of show you what it is obviously 2017. It has a Raptor grille conversion. I need to get some new lights. That was one of the things I noticed when I bought the truck, because this one here, while working, was dim, and so I'm just going to replace all those. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but it's pretty much just a standard truck, you know, four-wheel drive. I did opt for the EcoBoost, so it does have the 3.5 liter EcoBoost, and since it's a 17, it also has the 10-speed automatic. It's in the magnetic gray color. Paint's, you know, got some chips from the oversized tires, but overall not bad. My favorite part about this truck is the FX4 package, giving me the locking rear end as well as a couple other features. It does have a tow package. Overall, nothing too crazy, just your standard pickup truck. It is a Super Crew, so, you know, basically exactly what I wanted. Here's just a good look at these wheels. They are, I believe, a 17, yeah, right here, 17-inch. Fuel, I really love the contrast. They are silver and black, and it goes really well with the silver on black on this truck, so I really like them. Wrapped in, looks like some Falcon tires. I don't really know how they are as a brand. I've never had experience with them. They seem to be okay, but given this last year and the snow and everything, they seem to be all right. Now, my experience with the four-wheel drive has been limited, mostly just for snow. Being that right now I'm out in the city, I haven't had a whole lot of chance to go mudding or anything like that. No hunting seasons or anything so far. I do want to go on a little drive and just show you some of the features, how it feels, and just kind of give you an on-road perspective of how this vehicle performs. Okay, here we are inside the truck. I'm not really sure how well this is gonna go, given that it is getting pretty dark, but we're just gonna go for a little drive around and see what we can see. First things first, I would like just to mention, since we're here, the steering effort is like basically none. You know, driving around, it doesn't really take a whole lot of effort to steer. I know it is an electronic rack. So yeah, steering effort is one of those things really nice in this car, or sorry, this truck. There are some cars that do it better. My girlfriend's Acura Legend, which is currently out of commission, does definitely have a very unique steering feel, and I do appreciate that a lot more compared to something like this, even though it is pretty nice and easy to go. Another big thing is visibility. I feel like, you know, again, this is one of my least favorite features, auto start stop. Man, I hate that. I hate that. I wish there was a way to turn it off from factory. It looks like the best I can do is go ahead and get a tune that will resolve that, but spend $400 on a tune to be able to turn off something that should really be an option. Anyway, back on track. Visibility. I feel like the visibility in this truck is great. You know, looking both ways, there's not a whole lot that you can't see. These pillars, even though they are pretty big, you can still get away with being able to see through them pretty easily. That's a cop. Hopefully he doesn't notice. But yeah, overall, I mean, just driving, it's pretty comfortable. I mean, a lot of these trucks nowadays are set up more for city driving, street driving. They're not really as tough and rugged as they were back in the day, so it's kind of uncommon to find, no matter which make or model you prefer, it's kind of uncommon to find a vehicle or a truck that drives bad nowadays until you get up into like the heavier duty vehicles. Just for little half-ton putter rounds, you know, like they've all gotten pretty good to where you really don't have to worry about it anymore. Another thing that I like a lot more than most of my cars, including my Ranger, including my other trucks, is just how this sounds in the inside. Like, not talking about audio or anything, but it's quiet. Like, it's actually quiet when you drive it. There's not a whole lot of road noise. It does a pretty good job at blocking the wind noise. Like, overall, it's just pretty nice to drive on the inside, and it really does feel kind of luxury. Like, I think it's just crazy how far these modern trucks and stuff have come in terms of drivability and stuff to be so like creature comfort. Like, there's just not a lot going on. Like, it just takes care of you. You're not really riding in this bumpiness. Like, it drives fine. It feels fine when you're driving. The steering is easy. Power's like instant. Like, it just honestly feels like smooth and luxurious and easy, and not like hardcore work truck. You know, this one's leveled. I think I forgot to mention that. I'm not sure. I assume it's about a 2-inch level, maybe not. I don't really know. I didn't put it on, but it's leveled and it still feels and rides great. Another thing is this truck does have, like I said, the 10-speed. I want to talk about that just a little bit. It takes a little getting used to. In my opinion, the experiences I've heard online about them being kind of severe and hard to drive, like it clunks a lot. I mean, it does have some clunkiness. Part of the design of having a 10-speed, you just have a lot going on there. But overall, I haven't noticed it being too terrible. Like, it's not the end of the world. You barely notice it. It shifts pretty smooth overall, and like if you give it the gun, like you do feel it shift a little bit, and it does kind of not hesitate, but you do kind of feel like it let on and off. But overall, it feels pretty good. You don't really have a whole lot of, I don't know, clunking around it. It feels still pretty smooth, just like everything else, like I mentioned. Another thing, this truck does have a couple different drive modes. Hopefully I'll get a chance to kind of show you what those are like here in just a second. Oh, also mirrors, blind spot mirrors from factory. That is amazing. I can't even tell, like, they were so nice to have on my Ranger, and having them built in is awesome. I need to adjust that one because I bumped it the other day and I forgot till just now, but anyway, it's pretty nice. And then just like the drivability mode or drive modes, like I can put this truck into sport and it's going to start to behave more racy, I guess, like a race truck. Like for example, it just shifted down. I'm in 6th now instead of 9th just driving, and if I hit it, it has like totally different transmission tuning. Like everything is so different, and it really picks up power, so it almost gears it to be like performance rather than just like standard driving. I don't honestly almost never drive in that mode, and I haven't had a whole lot of experience with this truck towing, as I've only had it for a month and a half almost. But it does have the tow haul mode. I'm assuming that does pretty good. I don't know, and I won't know for a while. And like I said, I never drive it in sport mode really, just because, I don't know, it's just a daily driver. It's my regular to and from work truck, and I haven't really worried about how fast I get places, you know. It's mostly just about the comfort and drivability. And right now I'm in 10th gear, just cruising along at like 1,000, just slightly over 1,000 RPMs, just eating the gas mileage up. I did want to talk about fuel economy just for a second. Like I mentioned, this is the EcoBoost, and if I look, I'm getting, on average, it says about 16.8, 17 miles per gallon, which is a huge step up from my last truck. That thing was sitting around, I don't know, 14 on a good day. So it's really nice just to have the increased fuel economy as well as the better power. That comes from being a V6 on the low end, and it hits boost, you get the more of the power. There's a lot that goes into that. This is kind of the pros and cons of the engines, but that's part of why I chose this specific engine over like the Coyote, is just partly because of the fuel economy, partly because I wanted to try it out. I know in my last video I've kind of talked about controls. I'm not sure how well you can see. Everything's pretty easy, switches, knobs, things like that. Over here you have all your other controls. Everything's pretty easy to get to, and it's not really like a chore to switch between things. You have all these controls on your steering wheel as well for all your volume and everything, so you don't really need to look away from the road to activate things like that. It just feels like they had an intentional thought about how the interior would be designed and where things were going to go. Overall, I kind of feel like that wraps everything up. I mean, it's a truck, it drives like a truck a little bit, and just everything I've talked about with that. It's a huge step up over my Ranger in terms of power and drivability and comfort and everything, but at the end of the day, I can't really compare that truck to this because it's like a totally different world. I mean, the Ranger was built, designed, and still manufactured since like the 90s. They barely changed anything, and this is like straight out of a space movie, man. I feel like I'm on like a total different like voyage or something when I sit in this thing compared to that. Now, I'd also like to mention this truck has had some issues. I don't know if these are Ford-related issues or if it's just quality control of vehicles of the day, but there have been some problems. There'll be a card somewhere on the top now. When I first bought this truck, I ended up having an O2 sensor fail off the dealer lot. I got that taken care of, and I have a full video kind of going over that, but that was something I initially had. I would also like to mention I did notice just within the last couple weeks, I've been leaking coolant. I'm getting a better look. It does look like the bottom corner, I can't really show you that, but it's starting, of the radiator is starting to leak some coolant. Again, something I'm gonna have to take care of. I looked it up, these trucks do have some common problems with coolant leaks, but it is just at the plastic seam, it looks like, so any make, model, manufacturer would have had this happen. And due to the fact that it is a start-stop vehicle, and it was in California, I believe it was used all the time, I've noticed the starter is kind of getting a little worn out. These are all happening at around 80,000 miles. In my opinion, that's a little bit towards the unacceptable side. In my opinion, trucks should be good for 100,000 miles or 10 years before they start having any issues. These are just some of the things I've noticed. Also, being an all aluminum construction, it does have some body disadvantages. Now, I would like to mention both of these are my fault, but when I had this vehicle in the shop, I actually had my hood open and it caught one of the exhaust hangers. I wasn't going very fast, I mean, I was driving in the shop, but it did pull the hood a little bit, which caused this section of the fender to bend out just slightly, and you can kind of see that here. So not terrible, but you can notice it. And then this was just the other day, I accidentally ran into my trash can getting out of my driveway. Big ass dent here. So would this have happened with another vehicle? Not sure, but I don't feel like, you know, being an aluminum fender and everything, I feel like this definitely had something to do with it. This really pisses me off. I didn't notice this until just now when I started doing this video, but there's a dent here. And I feel like, honestly, if this would have been a steel fender, something like this wouldn't have happened. The body stuff, that, I mean, obviously, like I mentioned, my fault, but still, like, I just feel like maybe being an aluminum construction, that's something that plays into that. I'm gonna have to figure out if there's a way to get these two things fixed, because this really does bother me on top of the other mechanical issues I've already mentioned. So yeah, that's basically my little run around of the truck. You know, overall it's been pretty good. I love the power, I love the consistency, I love the drivability. It's a huge step up for my Ranger, but it does have, you know, some reliability issues, it seems like, or at least things that tend to fail, as well as I'm not really a super huge fan of being all aluminum. There's pros and cons to that. Maybe that would have been my fault anyways, but I've done some pretty rough things to my cars over the years, and all of them have been steel, so I haven't really had any issues. I mean, my last truck, my girlfriend ran into it, and it didn't even ding the bumper. I hit my trash can going out of the driveway and kind of pushed it up against the house, and I just bent my fender. So yeah, that's basically the end of it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please don't drop those down in the comments below. I'd also appreciate it if you'd subscribe, and have a wonderful day.